So I was asked for the project when it was already written, so all the books. So we've been working for another year then in just writing, and I found a beautiful story written by Adrien Illien, which is the head author, and together with the whole writer room, and it's a story about Johanna, our main protagonist. He comes back to Davos, which is set in the mountains from the front while during the First World War, 1916 actually.
Yeah.
And she's pregnant, and because she needs to how do you say, like, verheiraten,
To marry.
get married. That's a huge problem. So, and that's the beginning of a very dramatic story, and she's getting into spy activity because her child will be taken by the family to another place, so she can marry a guy who will take over or will buy the Kur house, which is part of the family business, but got into problem while the First World War. So, and then begins a huge story. Now I'm in the whole scene.
So this is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning of a huge story, and set in 1917. Yeah.
Maybe we could just go a step back, and we started like with which this is the story then, but we started actually with the setting, because the setting for us was very interesting, because I always loved like lost places, and one of the lost places in Switzerland are sometimes the big luxury Belle Rock from the Belle Epoque sanatoriums. And we came across this story about The Magic Mountain by Thomas Mann, and we thought this is a great international setting. It's sometimes it's a lost place, and so we started going deeper into that story, and back then there was like Thomas Hess and Michi Sauter, who were my co-writers, and together with Julia Penner, and we started developing a story there. And came across the very interesting fact for us that, like, in the neutral countries, as Switzerland was back then in World War One, there are the big spy networks were all in the neutral countries, because you can easily go behind front lines passing through a country. And together with Davos and its international appeal, it had back then, actually, it was back then, I think, the highest city in Europe back then, and a lot of people were there, like the whole elite from all over the world was there to get cured from tuberculosis, and we just thought like this melting pot of internationality was something, and then the war comes, and then the spying starts, and they even have like consulates there and embassies. So we thought this is just great to tell a spy story, and then we started thinking about the characters, and then we came across the nurses portrayed by Dominique. Like, a lot of nurses were in spy networks then. We found out that the nurses went to World War One in Switzerland voluntarily. Swiss nurses went there, and then we came across your character, Ilse von Hausner, who is a German master spy, and also for that character there was like an actual historic what's it called, what's Vorbild? Idol. Yeah, like there actually was a master spy in Germany, which her character is inspired from. A role model. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Like it's an actual historic figure that the character is inspired from. So, and from that on we went on, exactly.
For me, what I really liked about the series was that it's a character that goes through a huge personal development, character-wise. as Janja already told us, it starts where she comes home and there is really nothing, no place to go. There only like it feels like the surroundings are getting closer and closer, and she's trapped basically. It kind of looks like her life is kind of, how do you say? Controlled, yeah. Controlled by others. There's really no place for her to go. She just has to fit in. And then throughout the story, you know, she meets Ilse and she has all these new opportunities and she becomes this whole new person. Or maybe she finally is allowed to become herself, who she might actually be, you know, and I really like that. How I prepared? Well, I actually didn't know that much about Switzerland during World War I. Like, it's not really a country that you talk about during World War I, so also World War II actually. So I had to learn about the whole situation, and then also how, like, normal, for me, what was interesting to learn about normal life in 1917. How did people normally live? A character like mine, a young woman, what would have been my life expectancy? What would I, you know, what could I expect from life as a young woman in 1917? What was normal? What was what could have been my life until then? So that was a lot of preparation. And then, of course, we had writing lessons and shooting lessons and all that kind of stuff, cool stuff to get into the whole more spy things.
Yes, we talked. I think we talked a lot about the story because with Adrien, with Janni, and all of us, because I think the First World War is not. So I also didn't know so much about it. What the role of Lenin was, for example, I never knew about that, and it's very interesting because there are the roots for the things that happen today, nowadays, and this is. And you think, okay, then you understand much more about the story. So when you know that what's going on right now happened years and years, wie sagt man, Jahrzehnte, decades, yeah, before. And the real life model of Ilse von Hausner was Elsbeth Schragmüller, and she was the German commanding officer of Mata Hari. And I think Mata Hari is well known, Elsbeth Schragmüller not that much. So she was the is this right? The first.
Yeah, her handler actually. It's like commanding officer.
Yeah. So the first woman, and it was very interesting because Ilse is very self-determined. She is very self-confident. She's humorous. She has no rules. She makes her own rules. She's manipulative, so she can show. She's a countess. Yeah, you know, on one side, and on the other side, she is a spy. She has so many facets. She's kind of a mysterium. So I love that a lot, you know. And there is a lot of literature and a lot of very intelligent men and women around us. So we could talk about it. The production gave us a lot of material, so we really could dive in deeply into that time. Then what you said, the costumes, the makeup, the house. So you really could hear Thomas Mann whispering, you know, and in Davos when we were there, this was really magic because you can feel the heartbeat of the time, and this I think it's very, very interesting to realize it's still all alive.
I think with regard to resonating, we have like this is the establishment, like questioning, like the people are questioning the establishment, and we have like this war no one saw coming, like in World War One as well. We also have like in 1918 the global pandemic, one of the biggest. We just went out of a global pandemic, so it's not. I always say like the history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes a lot with 1917 actually, and it's very sad that at the beginning when we started writing actually, we had to talk a lot about artillery, and we had to tell a lot to the people and explain what artillery actually is, and that changed during the writing process, sadly, because of the war in Ukraine.
And I think something very important is to talk about neutrality now in Switzerland, and it came up very powerful, this discussion now, like on a political level, and it started with the Russian attack on Ukraine, and so we had inside in Switzerland a huge discussion. So what does it mean to be neutral, and what it meant to be always, because the story of the First World War it's always told in different ways. So how does the Swiss people see it? I mean, it's long time ago, but it's the same with the Second World War. So we know a lot more what happened, and still more in our like we remember or in talking. So the First World War was far away. Seems to be far away, but in the same time. It is like people in Switzerland saw it in a different way, because Switzerland was always part of it, but in a different way. They produced weapons for all sides. At the same time, they took war-bonded person from different parties to come to Switzerland, to Davos, for example, and so there was a way to be out, to keep outside the war, to keep neutral. And now we got the same have another discussion. It was we've been discussing, was it a good thing to do that, or was it bad? But for such a small country like Switzerland, probably was the only way to survive as a country. And in a moral way, it seems to be very bad for us as well. And now it's very important what happened in Ukraine, or what's happening in Gaza and Israel now, to neutral. To me, it means to have to have a stand, to have a opinion, and to say, okay, I'm for human rights, and that's over everything. So we need to stand here and say, okay, being neutral, political neutral, means, okay, there are rules for everybody, and we try to, find solution. And the positive thing is, as a neutral country, we could help to find dialogue. That's something Switzerland was always really good in that we should keep this, but we need to, stand for certain rules and for humanity. So.